Welcome to Gems of Knowledge with your host, David Bellman and Justin Kroll. Each week, our experts will answer all of your jewelry questions with Rachel Putney, our social media maven, who will relay your questions to our experts. And now, here's your host, David Bellman.
Hi, I'm David Bellman, and welcome to Gems of Knowledge, where each week our jewelry insiders will demystify the jewelry industry. This week, in segment 1 and 2, we are very excited to have our first guest, Danielle Miele, the founder of gemgossip.com, one of the top jewelry blogs in the world, with over 200,000 social media followers. We will talk about her, how she got her start, her jewelry road trip project, and her amazing ring collection. In our final segment, we'll draw the winner of our $100 Visa gift card contest, answer your jewelry questions, and we will look at a world-famous ring. So, let's get started. I have with me, of course, my two co-hosts, Rachel and Justin. Nice to see you both again.
Hey,
You
guys.
too, Dave.
Yep.
Looking good.
Thanks. And so today, don't get started already. Today we're going to have our first guest on our show. It's very, very exciting for all of us. Her name is Danielle Miele. Am I right?
You're right.
Thank you very much. I always like to back that up. Danielle Miele is a graduate gemologist. She's been in the jewelry industry for quite some time and has built quite a following, actually, on her own blog that she's been doing, I believe, over 1,600 blogs, at this point, and has been very successful. And we're very excited to have her here. So if we could bring her in. She's visiting us via Skype from, is it Virginia, I understand?
No, Nashville.
Oh, Nashville. I'm sorry. Well, thank you for being with us.
I'm excited to be here, and I'm glad to be your first guest. I didn't realize I was the first.
Well,
So
it's a great honor for you.
First is always the best.
There you go.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah. So I just wanted to get things started. I am just curious to know, and have you kind of tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got started in the jewelry industry, number one, or with your fascination for jewelry, and how you got together and started blogging about it. I read about it. It was a very interesting story.
Thanks. Yeah, I feel like I've always loved jewelry since I was younger. But professionally, I went to college and did the whole let's play it safe, let's get a degree in teaching, have a job, have my summers off and a steady income, that sort of thing. That's kind of like what my dad always kind of told me to do. And I love kids, so that's what I wanted to do. And it wasn't until I graduated and did the whole 5 years plus and all that money and realized that teaching really wasn't for me. And I've always had this love for jewelry, and I just never was able to explore it. So it kind of was all about timing for me. And it was July of 2008. As a family, we had lived in the same house for over 23 years. We never moved. And we decided to take a leap of faith and all move as a family to Nashville, Tennessee. And I didn't know anyone in Nashville. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a car. We left probably 80% of our possessions back in New York and just sold them off and started our new life in Nashville. And so I had a ton of free time on my hand. So I basically just started wanting to do something with my love for jewelry. And my boyfriend at the time, I would always send him hyperlinks and different, rings I would find online, and I would send him emails all throughout the day while he was at work. And we would finally get to talk at the end of the day. I would be like, did you look at that really cool ring I sent you in your email? And he would just be like, no, I'm really busy at work. Like, I can't deal with this.
So you needed an audience for your passion, sounds to me.
He basically was like, you need to connect with other people that loves jewelry as well. So you should start a blog, and I can help you start one. You just have to come up with a name and all that stuff, and I'll get you started. And so
Wow.
that's how Gem Gossip was born. And I started out really slow, just kind of like thinking of topics that I would want to learn about, because at that time I was still very much a beginner, very much a rookie. And I wanted to just kind of pick topics like, Victorian jewelry, for example, and I would read about it online or, buy a book and read it. And then my assignment to myself, having that teacher background in me, my assignment was to write a blog post about whatever topic I just learned about. So that's kind of how my blog began.
Wow. Now, what year was this that you started this?
It
blog?
was in July of 2008. So blogging was still very new. There was maybe like a handful of fashion blogs that kind of just were taking off and doing really well. So I kind of looked at that for inspiration sometimes, and how are they setting up their blog posts? Do pictures come first and then text, or text and pictures? Like, everything was new to me, and I just kind of went along with it and trial and error and that sort of thing.
And also in the process, you became a graduate gemologist. So I assumed that as you're going through it, you realized that there's a lot involved in jewelry, and you probably realized that you had to, get a decent education. That you found out about GIA and became a graduate gemologist.
Yeah, that was actually, I would say, a year into having my blog. I was contacted by a local antique jewelry shop, and they needed a website built for them. So I was totally into taking on that job for them, and I started out, taking some jewelry home with me every other weekend and taking pictures of the jewelry, and that's when my love for photography really kind of added to everything.
Yeah, in fact, we have a few of your photographs, which we'll be showing in the next segment. Some of the different collections of jewelry that you've collected over the years. So I'm going to bring my fellow panelists in here for the interview. So go ahead. Do you have some questions you'd like to ask, Danielle?
Which GIA did you study at?
I did it online, and then I went to Carlsbad for all of my lab classes.
Okay. My wife is taking the correspondence course right now too, and she loves it.
Yeah, distance education, that's what it's called. I always forget that word. But it was the best decision I ever made, and I'm absolutely obsessed with the Carlsbad campus and everyone there, and I love it. I think the most emails that I get from people actually are potential students that want to go to GIA, and they find that they don't have enough information out on the World Wide Web about what it's like to be a student there, and they have so many questions about the courses. And I'm always the first person to take a lot of time to make sure to respond to those emails. Those are my favorite emails, and I have several blog posts about my experiences there. So
that's a great organization.
How long did it take you?
It took me 3.5 years. There was a lot of in between. I took the diamonds course first, and I just flew through that. I was so excited about it, and I just absorbed that information like a sponge. And then right around that time, I had a breakup and then a move, and then things in life happen, so you put things on the back burner. But it took me 3.5 years. The colored stones took me the longest for some reason. There's just so much information, and there's so many stones, and it's just like you want to enjoy it. A part of me kind of didn't want to go through it fast as well.
Right.
I miss it today.
Yeah, my wife's in the Colored Stones program right now, and she's definitely saying the same thing. I mean, I used to teach at GIA, so that was the hardest for my students.
Like gem ident or the actual
the whole thing with color, gem ident, colored stone grading, all the the diamonds course, like Danielle said, you fly right through.
Yeah. What's interesting is there aren't that many gemologists out there. And, we try to educate our viewers on how important it is to, when you go into a jewelry store, to find someone who's knowledgeable and ask these kinds of questions. And this is why, because it's not a simple thing to be a gemologist. It takes a lot of training, takes a lot of time, a lot of effort in order to do that. And most people that work in jewelry stores, and I think, Danielle, you visited quite a few of them in your travels, you don't find a lot of people who have actually taken the time to educate themselves, even though they're in the business. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, I agree. That 20 stone exam, it's a tough exam, and it's a small group, I would say, that can get through that. And when I was into taking the exam, you realize, like, this is an honor. Like, once you pass that test, that was like the most proud I've ever been, and I think a lot of GGs can agree.
They say that 20 stone test is as difficult and as stressful as the bar exam.
Well, and explain why. A lot of people don't realize this is the only test in the world that I've ever heard of where that the passing grade is 100.
That's right. Yeah, you get 5 chances to pass it. But so if I know
that puts more pressure on you, because now
very stressful. And as a teacher, I'll never forget. I had one student that didn't make it, and it was awful. So
what happens if you don't? Do you have to start all over again?
Or do you want to know what happened in this case? It was pretty.
It's like a worst case scenario.
It was. He was so upset. His parents sent him from overseas. I think he was from Pakistan.
Yeah. And
his parents sent him with every last penny they had to come over here.
Oh, no.
And day 5, he didn't pass. This is the only thing that's, as was in my, teaching there, it was kind of a bad experience, was I had to let him know that he didn't pass on his 5th day.
Wow.
And essentially, he didn't leave the class, and eventually they just had to call security.
Oh, boy.
It was pretty rough. So it's a stressful, they say it's as stressful as the bar exam, if not more.
And they don't tell you what you got wrong. You just have to do the 20 different stones all over again?
Well, the next day you get another 20 stones that are completely different.
So if you get one wrong the first day.
Yep, and they explain it like, just like in the industry, if you're out there and you're looking at you're putting a deal together and you're trying to buy a $100,000 sapphire or whatever, and you get a synthetic stone, that's it. It's game over. You can go out of business, and so you don't get a second chance.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we got to talk about that, because I think it's really important. And I was very impressed by the fact, Danielle, that you had actually taken the course and as a part of the group here. So it's really great that you took the time to do that and really educate yourself. So tell me a little bit more about it's Gem Gossip, correct, is the name of your blog?
Yes, gemgossip.com.
And I also know that you've done close to 1,600 posts at this point.
I've written 1,600 blog posts. Yeah.
Wow. So how often do you do them? I mean, is it the same? Do you do a few a week, or does it just depend on what's going on? How do you do that?
It does. It depends. It fluctuates. I would say it depends. Also with travel and that sort of thing. My main goal is to do Monday through Friday. Mm-hmm. But it is really tough. And most recently, I've decided to take on a few, some help with creating content, because I really do want to produce content Monday through Friday on the blog. That means a fresh blog post every day at 6 a.m. my time. So
wow.
I've hired 2 new people to create some content. One to do celebrity red carpet stuff, just because I know how popular that is. People really love to know what jewelry the celebrities are wearing. And for me, that's super exciting. I love that too, but putting together those blog posts is long and dreadful. So,
well, at the moment, I'm sorry, Danielle. Just so you know, at the moment we're putting up on the screen, you're live. We're showing your Facebook.
No,
I'm sorry, no, the website homepage. I assume, correct? Yeah. And we're just kind of scrolling through it right now, and I see is that a model or is that a famous person? I see her wearing a pearl necklace, bracelet, earring set.
That is a model from a jewelry campaign, the jewelry line that I did a Q&A interview with.
Okay.
That's their line, and that's their professional shots.
Oh, wow. That's really nice. That's very nice.
Danielle, do you appreciate newer, more contemporary jewelry or more of the estate jewelry designs?
It's hard to say, but because I love both so much, but if you look at my collection, you would say 100% antique and vintage jewelry, and that's kind of where my love for jewelry started. It all began.
Now you're talking.
Like
that's one of Justin's favorite things is the estate jewelry part of our business.
Yeah,
I like how you're talking.
It's the thrill of the hunt, and not knowing if you'll ever see a piece the same as that, and it's really.
And do you buy and sell estate jewelry? Personally.
I have such a crazy collection that I've decided to sell a lot. So I mean, recently I've sold like over 100 pieces of mine.
Where do you typically sell them? Is it online only?
Yeah, I have actually created a separate Instagram account and handle just for my inventory page. It's Shop Gem Gossip, so people can go there and at any time and see the current inventory that I have, and everything's listed. You've got the description, the size, and the price. So prices are all listed. For me, that was a huge thing. I know a lot of people don't like to list prices, on Instagram or Facebook or things like that. But for me, that's what I like to look for when I'm searching. And so I do things from my perspective, and what would I like, what would I want. So that's kind of how I decided to do that.
Sure, put yourself in the shopper's shoes.
So what we're going to do is we're coming to the end of this segment, and then when we come back, we're going to talk to Danielle about her jewelry road trip projects that she's done, which is really kind of interesting, and I really want to hear about that aspect of what you've done and evolved your blog into a traveling opportunity. And it sounds like a great fun. So we'll be back in 1 minute and continue on our conversation with Danielle.
Hey guys, it's Howard. Tune into Gems of Knowledge every Sunday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time. Join our jewelry insiders David Bellman and Justin Kroll each week as they demystify the jewelry industry. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe to our YouTube channel today.
And welcome back. David Bellman here with my panel and co-hosts and our special guest today, Danielle, who is coming to us from Nashville, Tennessee, correct?
Yeah.
All right. And Danielle has her own blog called Gem Gossip at gemgossip.com. We showed that in our first segment, a little bit of her homepage, which was very cool. And now we're going to talk a little bit about something that you're doing, which is a jewelry roadshow, which I find fascinating. Please tell me about that.
Yes, it's my hashtag jewelry road trip. So I came up with this idea, and I decided to launch it actually on stage at JCK in Vegas when I was doing the JCK talks. Did a really cool panel. It was called The Power of Blogging. You can actually see it on YouTube. I have it in my About section on my website. But I got this idea of visiting different jewelry stores, different jewelry designers, and just people in the jewelry industry that there's so many of them. And the U.S. is huge. When you start to travel, you realize like there's a lot out there to cover. And there's really not an outlet that kind of has one big directory where you can see like these are stores we recommend, this, what's inside the actual store, like, websites. Some stores have websites, some don't. So I really wanted to kind of show my perspective. So, we would pick a city, say San Francisco, and we would sometimes announce it, sometimes we don't announce it, but we announce it on our Instagram, hey, we're going to San Francisco, please contact me if you are, a designer, a store owner, or an antique jewelry shop. Mm-hmm. So we kind of set up all the appointments and go out to the city, and I bring along a photographer, which is, I would say 80% of the time, usually my husband. Okay. And we visit the stores and we take pictures of, the store in general, the outside of the store, the inside, the cases, and then, myself interacting with the people who work there, the manager, the owner, the designer themselves. Oftentimes we even go to designers' houses. So you really get an intimate look into whether it's their studio or their house. It's a whole package of like an inside look into a city and what their jewelry story is all about.
And that must give you a ton of content to talk about. I mean, every store, has a history about it, right? And their family history, if it's a family store, things like that.
Yeah, I've come across so many interesting stories, and I'm so excited to get to share all this information with my audience and my readers. Can you hear my dog?
Yeah, maybe just a little bit, but that's cool. That's part of our show. That's what makes it fun.
I think it's the UPS man. But yeah, so I will usually live show everything live on my Instagram. Like if I'm there, I will post like, hey, we're in San Francisco today, and show pictures of, our visit, sneak peeks into it. And then usually it'll take an entire week, maybe a week and a half to cover all of what, I just found at the city. So it's a lot of content, and my followers just really love it. Yeah. And the main goal really is to find some awesome jewelry and to connect this jewelry with people that might not necessarily be able to travel to that certain store. Like recently we went to Ohio. This woman sells jewelry, antique jewelry online through Etsy and rubylane.com. And you don't get to see the jewelry on someone. So I went there and I styled it on my hands and, wearing necklaces layered different ways. And, I had a few Instagram followers actually buy all of the pieces because they loved how I styled it, or, they necessarily didn't really see the piece or it didn't catch their attention online in like a high-res image, for example. But, once they see it on a hand or something like that, it puts it into a different perspective. It makes it come alive.
That's really cool. I mean, you could probably also have a hand modeling career if you were selling so many rings by just wearing them. In fact, we're looking at one of the pictures right now with a bunch of, what are those, cabochon type stones that are in there? It looks like citrine, amethyst, blue topaz.
They look faceted.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are.
So.
Oh, the first picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are faceted. They're kind of like, those are created by Miele Fine Jewelry out of Seattle, and she has those all specially cut. They kind of look like crystal balls.
Oh yeah, that's very nice.
Danielle, has your roadshow taken you up to New England at all?
No, and I really want to get out there. I've been to Brimfield.
Oh yeah, that's this week. That was what was all this week
Like
going on
happening.
right now.
Yeah. Sad I'm not there.
In New England, there's a lot of cool because there's so much, such a historical area. There's tons of little antique vintage jewelry shops. You have Portsmouth, Newport. There's just so many little areas with cool, funky little antique jewelry stores. It's really, you'd love it up here.
Yeah, I'm hoping to this summer. It's hard. A lot of times, during the winter, I want to go places, but I'm like, do I really want to travel through the snow and like unpredictable winter weather? So
no, the summer was a good call.
yeah, wait until the summer.
No, most definitely. Do we have a couple of more pictures, guys, of some of the jewelry collections that either you've seen or own? I like that first one. Oh, here we go. This is a collection of 4 rings, and then I'm doing this for Danielle's purposes too, because she knows which picture we're looking at. And then in the background looks like a multicolored necklace. Where did these items come from?
That was in Seattle at a store called Twist. They have the most amazing selection of designers. They choose really awesome, eclectic designers. For example, all those rings I'm wearing are very great examples of alternative engagement rings. That's not your typical DVVS stone. They all kind of, have some color, but it makes them really unique.
Yeah, kind of earthy, which is kind of sounds like what you'd expect in Seattle, right? Everybody up there is a little bit more into all natural, kind of organic kind of an area.
Yeah, it's interesting when you travel, you kind of see, the styles of the general public in each city, and you kind of match it up with the jewelry stores that are there. It's cool.
Rachel, what chance do you think we'd have of selling some of these designs here in New Hampshire?
I don't know about in the store. I mean, I should say a lot of people are attracted to our estate case in the store. Mm-hmm. That's like one of the first cases they run to.
But these don't look like estate, are they?
But these...
No, they're new.
Oh, just from a style. I'm just saying from a style point of view. It's so different here than there, getting a woman's perspective.
So if someone came in to buy an engagement ring, they... Yeah,
it'd be tough. Danielle, we were taking...
Because the girls need to, the women need to appreciate this type of jewelry.
Right.
And they don't see this all the time. They see just the typical round, brilliant cut and a halo.
Yeah, in the fashion magazines and in a lot of the bride magazines. Like a Decory, somebody like that.
Looking at the ring on the left, we were actually taking a poll the other day, Rachel. Remember when you're wearing a pear-shaped as a ring?
Which way?
Which way do you face the point? Towards you or towards your fingernail?
I usually do it the opposite of the picture. So the point would be towards my fingernail. But
yes.
All right.
What is that? What
job,
both you said?
Justin. I didn't give an answer. I never knew which way to put it.
Oh.
And so I was just curious.
I think that's the fun thing about a pear shape. You can change it up. So it actually kind of looks totally different when you wear it the different way.
Right.
Kind of hard to do that with a marquee.
Or around.
Okay. Let's see what we have for another photo coming up here. Oh boy, this is a gigantic collection. Is this part of your personal collection? We're seeing about 1,000 rings in ring boxes.
Oh, yes.
And some earrings on the left and a bunch of...
That is my jewelry box.
Wow.
That's my personal jewelry box. It looks a little different now because I've honestly sold a bunch, especially in that picture. Mm-hmm. However, that's typically, that's an everyday occurrence.
I definitely get a sense of your style now. You like long rings. In fact, I noticed, and I'll have you put your hands up in a minute when you come back, but to show us some of the rings that she's wearing now, but it's some of those longer finger rings like that.
Well, I was just about to ask her, did she sell some of those longer finger rings? Because I'll tell you, those for me, when I'm working with the dealers at least, that style has become more difficult to sell, those antique long rings. They tend to gravitate now. They're all asking for antique rings that look like more of a single stone towards an engagement ring. The longer ones are more difficult to sell. Do you find that too, Danielle, when you were selling them?
You can give me those long rings. I can sell them.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
I can also buy them.
Well, you don't sell to dealers, right? You sell mostly to privates?
Yeah, I mostly sell to people, whoever follow me.
Got ya.
Yeah. Show us some of the rings that you're wearing. I know it's not going to be perfectly, in focus, but just show us what you're wearing today. What do you have on your hand? Look at that.
Long. Yeah. All long.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're coming out good. We can see them really well.
Oh,
now, are they all antique, or are they some of them reproductions? What are they? Where did they come from?
Yeah, everything on my hand is probably like turn of the century. Wow. Except I would say my engagement ring is Victorian, and this little midi ring I like to wear is Victorian.
Wow. Rachel, let's take her contact information down.
I was just going to say, I want your entire jewelry box.
Yeah.
What's funny? I don't see a lot of the long rings like that, and so I'm surprised.
I'm glad we made this connection, because they're all coming out. When I have them, I can't sell them.
Yeah, it all depends on who your market is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're hard to find. It's kind of like when I see them, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like you get that, like your heart drops and you're just like, I have to have it.
I get that feeling a lot, but then I can't have
it. Well, keep working on it. It's interesting. I just wanted to bring this up really quick because I don't think a lot of people realize how much work goes into, and you were mentioning it before in the first segment, how it's a lot of work to come up with a new blog post every day. It's obviously for you a full-time job or a full-time passion. And then to do this traveling all around the country, I have to say I'm really impressed that you taking this on as you have and have made basically a career out of it.
Thank you. It's nice to say. Yeah, I didn't start out thinking that this would be my career at all. It's honestly just a passion, and it kind of grew itself and created itself. I just kind of keep putting out the content and listening to my audience and my followers and seeing what they want to know more about, or what are they interested in, what really resonates with them, and I just go from there. And just being able to build such a large following is kind of, you realize, you have such a large audience, so you could finally be able to make some money off of this. And I wrote my blog, I would say, for maybe 4 to 5 years without any compensation. So it also takes a lot of time and patience, and realize that you can't be an overnight sensation. You can't just start putting out similar pictures or similar content and think that you can get hundreds of thousands of people to follow you and to sell things quickly and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. And just for the record, for people to know that you do have, I think, in excess of 200,000 people currently following you. Is that correct?
Yes, throughout all of my social media channels and blog, yeah.
And I assume they're from all over the world, right? We automatically assume it's just the U.S., but this is the Internet, so you probably have people from everywhere, correct?
Yeah, I automatically think that it's mostly people here, but I really start to learn the depth of, my reach by when I get inquiries about buying rings and wanting to know about international shipping and all that stuff. And I'm okay, most of my people that are wanting to buy, they live in Singapore, Australia, or England, and
Wow.
I had no idea.
Yeah, that makes it really interesting to do business, especially. I know we've had a few situations where we've done some business overseas, and it's not easy to ship. It's not easy to collect the money. There's a lot to it. You got to be very careful because we're talking about items that once they're out of the store, that's the end of it. If the deal doesn't come through, you could get burnt, and that's difficult. But that's nice. Just one last question, because I know we're getting to the end again, but I'm just curious. What percentage of your group is, say, outside of the United States?
Not offhand. No,
yeah.
I don't. That's a good question, though.
Yeah.
I know Instagram has insights, that sort of thing. My largest audience is New York based, so that's interesting.
Well, that's a great audience to have, absolutely. And just in case you want to throw it, guys, do you have anything else that you'd like to talk to Danielle about at this point?
I don't know. I will say that when they had told me that you were going to be on here, I went to go look you up, and I was like, oh my god, I used to post your blogs on our Bellman's Online Store Facebook page, because I know how you were saying that it's tough to post things every day, and that's how I feel even trying to post one thing on our Facebook. So I'm like, I need just to post something to keep people in the loop, and so I just post your blog post on there.
Wow, that's cool.
What a small world, right? When you think about it.
I encourage that too. Yeah.
And I found you. I think I just Googled jewelry blog things, and you were the first one to come up. So.
Yep, good old SEO kind of helped out.
Very cool.
Well, then of course that's how we found you as well. We were doing our research, and you came up as number one on our list, which is why we wanted you to be the first person on our show.
Yes, number one.
Yeah, and also, like you mentioned, you may come out this way in the summertime. You're certainly welcome to come by and visit us in person. And I'm sure Justin will put a nice little collection of rings together for you to show you.
I know.
Make it worth your while to come and visit him and go through his inventory, because he has quite an extensive inventory of estate jewelry as well. And and I hope that we get to stay in touch in between now and then as well, because I think what you're doing is fantastic. We love doing it. This is kind of what we want to do on the video side. It's really exciting and really nice to meet somebody who's so passionate as we are about this industry.
We're all really glad to have you on the show today.
Yeah, thanks so much. This has been so much fun, and I really hope that I make my way out there and get to meet you guys in person rather than on Skype. And
I know, because you still haven't seen us.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to.
All right.
Hey, I'll send you a screen cap of the.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Howard will send you a.
So you can see.
Yeah, so you can see how it looks before we put it out on Sunday.
Okay, cool.
All right. Well, thank you very much again, and that is a great interview. I really enjoyed doing that. That was a lot of fun.
Thanks, Danielle.
And
Thank you. That was fun.
let's just plug her website one more time. It's gemgossip.com. Lots of
and then all your social media, is that just all Gem Gossip?
Right. Yep.
Excellent.
Gem Gossip.
Okay.
All right. Well, once again, we are going to end this segment. We'll be back in just a minute, and then we're going to talk about a very interesting ring that has got my attention, which is the World Series ring for the Cubs.
Hey, people, it's Howard again. Tune into Gems of Knowledge every Sunday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time. Hey, we want your input. What jewelry questions do you have? Be part of future episodes. Post your questions on our YouTube channel today and become an official Gems of Knowledge contributor.
And we're back, and we're again having way too much fun. And here's my shameless plug. This is going to be the Aquasonic Wave Jewelry Cleaner box that contains all the names of the people who entered our contest. And we want to thank you all for participating in it. It went really well. We've got a lot of new likes and Facebook shares and YouTube subscriptions. So we really appreciate everyone jumping in. This is a $100 gift card, correct? With Visa gift card?
Yes, Visa gift card.
All right. And Rachel is going to do the honors of
holding it for Justin who's going to do the honors.
Oh, all right. Here we go.
Choosing the
Like,
name.
ruffle them around a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
I hope it's mine.
Michelle Crawl. Baby! We're going out to dinner tonight.
See, you knew this was going to happen when he was going to pick it.
No. Lisa Calabro. Calabro.
Lisa Calabro
Yeah.
won. Woo!
Do we know who she is?
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Oh, wow. All right.
She is a kitchen designer.
Nice.
Well,
She does a great job, and now she has a $100 Visa gift card to do whatever she wants with it.
Sweet.
Congratulations, Lisa. I will bring that to you on Thursday.
that's very sweet of you.
Bring
I
it to
know.
her.
She's in my B&I.
Cut it out.
No, I'm serious.
Oh, nice.
That's great.
Yes.
All right. Well, that was fun. And again, thanks everyone for joining or for signing up for that. Now we want to answer a question, actually a very good one that we received this week. And so, Rachel, if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, we actually got one from Maryland, believe it or not.
Okay.
Julie from Maryland says that she inherited a box of jewelry from her grandmother. A lot of it looks like costume jewelry. Should she just keep a few pieces for sentimental value, or should she bring it to a jeweler?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
What? I don't get the question.
In other words, she's got a big box of jewelry.
Yeah.
And she's wondering if she, I guess really kind of wondering if you should bring it to a jeweler to maybe have it looked through to see if there's any really good stuff in it. And we know all about that.
Well, of course. I mean.
But a lot of people don't do it. Yeah. She's not sure. But go ahead. Why don't you? I mean, we do a lot of the buying events. Tell us.
Well, I'll tell you. There was. I'll give you an example. I had a customer come in who had 6 banana boxes filled with costume jewelry, and she was so apologetic. It was unbelievable. She kept saying, "I'm sorry," and it's no problem for me. I was going through every piece. I enjoy doing it, so it's it's my job. I like doing that, so I was going through it. It was all costume jewelry, so I recommended to her that she maybe have a yard sale or something like that. And so I went through the first box, second box, third box, and it was all the same story. And she was just so sorry that she was putting me through this. And I kept telling her it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And I got to the 6th box, and inside that box was a little box that had, I think it was $3,500 worth of jewelry that we offered her, and she ended up selling. But yeah, she was just about to donate it all.
Right.
And so if the question is, should you? I mean, because she had should I keep a few pieces? Well, that if you like them, absolutely keep them.
Right.
But the rest of it, don't throw it away.
Right.
Bring it in. We bring it to your local jeweler, or if you're local to us, bring it in and come see us.
Just to be sure, you don't want to. I mean, I've heard crazy stories of people going into Goodwill or places like that and finding gold, or someone found $1,000 stuffed in a shoe before. Yep. And that's what happens because they don't realize what they're donating all the time.
Those places now are very smart as to what's being donated in jewelry. They keep it for themselves. Essentially, either the employee does it or the company themselves keeps it, and they work with a refinery to get the most out of the gold. But people donate gold and real jewelry to these places all the time.
Yeah. No, I mean, and you hear the stories of people who go to yard sales for 25 cents and buy a little brooch or something, and it turns out to be an antique diamond pin worth tens of thousands of dollars.
Always double check. Just double check.
Yeah. No, that really was a good question then, because that is something that I could see happening. And that we've seen through our experiences of people bringing in, they always apologize, like you said, they always apologize first when they bring the pieces in, and they say, but there's probably nothing in here, it's not worth it, blah 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 blah, and then it always ends up being hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of stuff.
You know what's funny in our business? What people think is generally worthless tends to be worth a lot more, and worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, what people think is generally so valuable typically isn't as valuable as they think. It's really funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of surprises. True. All right, so I'm excited about this next segment. That was a great question. Thank you very much for sending it in. Our next segment, we're going to be talking about the World Series Cubs ring, which looks really amazing. It's a fantastic piece of work, really. And there's a lot of history built into it, and we've got some notes here about some of the representations of what everything, the number of diamonds that are in it, have some certain. Oh, there it is.
Who made it?
Jostens.
They did.
Yeah, this is the same company that makes class rings, but when it comes to, I think they do them all. I think they do the baseball, football, hockey.
They're the best at it. They've been doing it forever.
Yeah, and these rings are spectacular.
Now, could you make that better?
That is not made with a casting process or anything that we could do here. It's done with a whole different process. They actually make metal molds, and that's why you get that deep detail that's in between the letters and all that, and they're so crisp and clean.
Yeah,
you have to have a special machine that's going to stamp that into a solid piece of gold as opposed to casting it. You cast it would never come out looking like that.
Even handmade, we couldn't do it.
Not with the level of detail. No, because even if you hand make it, you still got to cast it eventually, right? And it just won't work. I tried. That's why I know.
Got ya. Okay.
Yeah, did some research on it, but isn't that beautiful? Now, just a couple of things. There's 108 diamonds in the logo, one for each year between the championships. So that was quite a while for them, 108 years. The ring contains 214 diamonds, 5.5 carats total weight. That looks about right. You got some rubies, you got some sapphires in there. But you know what? Oh, and let's see. The master jeweler says there were at least 200 to 300 conceptual drawings before they decided on which one they wanted to go with, which I can understand that. I mean, can you imagine all the different designs you could come up with for that? And they think they did a good job doing it the way they did. But here's the thing that I find most interesting of all. Look at the size of that thing. It's gigantic.
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
Yep. When you go and they hand you your World Series ring, so if you're on the team or you're on the coach or whatever, they say, well, we need you to give us $1 before we can give you the ring. And we want you to sign this little piece of paper. They want them to sign it and take the ring out on memo. And they want compensation. They have to have some kind of exchange to make it legal. So they make them pay $1. They have to sign this form, and the form says, this is your ring and you own it, but if you ever decide that you want to sell it, you have to call us first, and we have to have first option on it.
And I read that if that's the case, then they buy it back for $1.
Yeah, but I see pre-owned, Super Bowl rings out there in the secondary market all the time.
Well, you do, and that's what they don't want to see happen. They don't want their players giving these rings or selling these rings for money. You can give it to a family member. You can pass it down to someone within your family.
And can the family member then sell it?
Nope, because the contract goes with the ring.
Lawyers might have something to say about that.
Well, that's why they're doing it the way they're doing it. They're making you paying that $1 makes it a legit deal.
Though.
Well, that's what I say. That's what I say.
Their ring, I mean, they won the World Series.
Exactly.
Right.
They deserve it.
They do. But they're not allowed. They don't want them being just taken and sold off as souvenirs or whatever, for profit. Because to some people, World Series ring, it doesn't mean anything to them. They don't care.
I wonder if it's enforced, though.
Well, we'll find out, I think. We'll start to see if we ever see any of these rings come up for sale.
Well, we do. That's the thing.
No, this is this particular ring.
Oh, so all the other Super Bowl rings and World Series rings don't have the same contract?
Something new. This is something new that they're doing. So that's why you will see the old ones out there. But going forward, and it's not just for football or baseball, they're doing it for football and they're doing it for the other teams as well. They don't want to, spend all this money, and I think it costs like $50,000 a ring for them to make those up. And then a player, especially a very famous player, could then take it and say, well, that's my personal ring because their name's on it. They could get $500,000 or $1 million for it the next day.
And they should be able to.
Well, they should, maybe.
Someone's paying for it up front. If Jostens thinks it's worth so much more money and they don't want anyone to have a part in it, then charge more.
Oh, it's not Jostens that's doing it. It's a team, the owners of the team that are doing it.
Because they don't want their players to make money?
Well, they're paying them penny, I'm sure.
What's the point of it?
They don't want these rings to be just floating around, people wearing them that aren't part of the team, that aren't part of the group. They don't want them to be just collectible items for people to buy and sell and trade, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing.
That's called a free market. I mean,
Also, the staff that don't make a ton of
Oh, that's true. Yeah, they were just saying that the staff also receives rings as well. Not the big ones like this one, but they get smaller versions of it. And then there's a lot of people that work there, and maybe they get fired, or they leave a year later, and then that's the end of it. And then they want to get rid of the ring. So that's probably what it is. Because I think they're giving out, 1,900 rings altogether to everyone that's involved in the organization. But that's the deal. They don't want them getting them and then just selling them off.
Yeah.
For instance, for us, people will get a Rolex watch for a gift. A sales, they make a sales goal. They get a Rolex
all
watch.
The time.
Exactly, see? And the people get the watch, and the people who give it to them say, oh, here's something, we're really proud of what you did, and thank you very much, and think they're going to wear the watch for the rest of their lives, and 5 minutes later they take it to us.
Right.
And we love that. We don't...
Oh, of course, it's great for us. Yeah.
But we don't think it's wrong of them.
And how does the company suffer?
Well, they don't. I think but the intent was, they think when they give the watch that they're doing something good for the employee, and they're going to really enjoy it and love it. And
they're
totally
giving
wrong.
them some cash.
Well, they should. Then they should just write them a check, is what I'm saying.
Oh, come on.
Well, but anyway, that I thought was probably one of the most interesting aspects of this ring, aside from the fact that it is just absolutely gorgeous. And but you can buy your own ring and keep it for life for $299. Nice replica.
Yeah, probably pewter.
If you're lucky for $299, you're lucky if it's even that.
CZ,
synthetic,
plastic,
ruby.
not even synthetic.
Glass or plastic. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
How much, Dana? 10,000?
Yeah. Well, the end is $10,000. You can get real ones too, but again, nothing
can buy them for 10 grand.
Mm-hmm. But it won't have anybody's name. It won't have your. I don't think it'll have your name on it. They're not going to put your name on it.
I don't think so.
No, but I mean, that's half the fun of it, is you get your name on there and on one side and everything else. So
right.
So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
All right. Well, again, another great segment, another great show that we wrapped up today. And that interview with Danielle was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that. And hopefully look forward to seeing her if she comes out to the East Coast and visits during the summer. It'd be neat to meet her in person and take a look at more of her jewelry collection.
Who are we going to have on next?
Well, I don't know, Justin. Who would you like to have?
I think we're having the cruise ship.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, good point. Thank you. We had talked about and asked for people to send us information about being ripped off on cruises. And what happened was we received information from a woman who had just recently come back from a cruise and spent a significant amount of money, and I'm talking over $10,000 on some jewelry that turned out to be not even close in value to what she paid for it. Very, very scary.
Yeah.
Didn't like it at all, what they did to her. And it's really starting to upset me. It has for years. This goes on all the time.
Right.
And we're going to expose this to everyone. And I hope that we can get, some national exposure as a result of this, because people are getting ripped off to tens of millions of dollars a year in probably one of the biggest jewelry scams that I've ever seen in my life.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. So next week, we'll be starting those segments. You'll get to meet this woman and hear her story, and she'll tell you exactly how they do it. It's very interesting how they put you through this whole process, and you're going to be completely and totally fascinated by the whole thing.
And disgusted.
Well, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, everyone, thank you very much again for joining us this week, and we look forward to seeing you again Sunday at 12:30. Thanks again for joining us. We had a great time as always, and we hope you did too. Hey, a special shout out to Danielle Miele for being on our show this week. We really appreciate it. Remember to tune in next week for an all-new episode. Our shows air each Sunday at 12:30, and they're always available to watch anytime on our Gems of Knowledge YouTube channel. Please like us on Facebook, share us with your friends, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you next week.